Here we go. Good afternoon and welcome to Gator's Garage, the home of all things historical gaming in and around the fine city of Savannah, Georgia. I'm here this afternoon with our good friend Jon Russell. Say hi.
Hey, Mike. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we get too deep into this thing, you folks know the drill. Do the YouTube things. Click like, click subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Leave a comment in the section for the comment section for the YouTube algorithm robots. If there's things you want to see us talk about, or you got a question for me or for Jon, drop it in the section and we'll get it off to him and get an answer to you. You want to support the channel, you can always swing over to Gator Games and Books and buy merch, or you can buy us a cup of coffee on Ko-Fi or Patreon. So got to keep the lights on. There you go. But most of all, we're here to have fun and talk about the hobby. So Jon, what's the good word?
Wow, we're getting rested up now. Finally, we just came off we did Renegade GT up in Plymouth, Minnesota, and then that's right before Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was a little chilly. It did snow while we were up there, but we bought the big rolling stocks from our logistics point up there in Crown Point. So we drove them up there, and they had a great show. About 350 plus people, a lot of old faces, a lot of new faces. Had a great time there. Really enjoyed it. And then of course that's where I kind of end my tournament run, and I like it there. And because it's 15 minutes from the door of my sister's house, I stay there with her. Then I stayed over the week for Thanksgiving, and my sister-in-law is about 30 minutes away. So we have always have a double Thanksgiving that weekend. So it's kind of nice. And now we're kind of resting up. Nothing's on the schedule. I mean, there's a couple of events hitting there. You know, we've got PAX Unplugged up in Pennsylvania, but I don't have anybody. I'm not going to be able to get up there, but we might have some scouts and stuff. And there's some people, good people up there. And we know some of our friends of the circuit will be up there. But the next big one for us is going to be Las Vegas Open in the middle of January. So we'll be, if everything goes right, we'll be rolling the stock into there. We'll have our Western logistics point out of Salt Lake City rolling down there. So we'll be bringing 8 to 10 rolling racks, 6 foot high, 4 foot wide, or 3 foot wide of stock for you. So just like we did at Adepticon. Yeah, it's impressive when we get it rolling. And we'll have some new banners and some new product. In January, we'll see the release of our German book. And there's some other things that are kind of in the wings that we kind of can't talk about but allude to. January is going to be another great year for us to start off. We had a great year this year, and then we start back into it. You know, we've got Siege of Augusta, we've got Genghis Khan, the Gamma Expo out in Louisville, Kentucky, and then March is Adepticon. So I mean, it's just hit the ground running. So. So I'm taking a rest, you know, about a month off, but really catching up with hobby projects and paperwork. You know, there's always paperwork, but that's what we got going on up here, or down here. I should say. We're over here.
We are planning to do a tournament sometime in March. We'll let everybody know about that.
Perfect.
You know, you got Callista's tournament at Siege in January. You got Jon Ross's tournament at Warzone Atlanta.
Yep.
In February. So yeah, we're gonna put one out in March. I would imagine the Ocala fellows will probably put something out too. Just there's a lot of bolt action activity starting to percolate in the middle middle Florida, middle and southern Florida, which is great to see. And sometimes we can avoid overlapping, and sometimes you just got to pick a date and run with it. And you know, we're about 10 hours apart, about 5 hours apart. So you know, sometimes it's easier for folks to make one than the other. But we're definitely still tracking to do our tournaments about once every other month or once a quarter, depending on what else is going on in the hobby and in the local area. We do play other things besides bolt action every now and again.
Yeah, surprise, right? Yeah, myself, I have something that goes off a little different.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine I've known for a very long time had his 60th birthday in November. So some of us friends drove up there in Denver. And we got in some Warlord stuff. We got some other games in too, so it's kind of fun. So those are always kind of nice, just to palate cleanse and kind of take care of things.
Yeah, one of the things I've been looking hard at this German veteran set, and I am telling you,
yeah,
it's really interesting because I think I've mentioned before I'd like to see Warlord do a Eastern Front starter. And of course, if you read the write up on these guys, these are essentially Eastern Front veterans.
Well,
And
and
man,
and if you
I'm
listen to
excited.
yeah, well, and then just to caveat off of that, and if you listen to some of the stuff we talked about in open day in September, and John and the studio guys were talking about, there's one sprue left in our inventory. Well, one nationality in our inventory that still has a mandatory weapon sprue because you have to put the weapons in their arms, and that's the Russians and the Winter Russians. So they're slated to be redone here very, very soon. So if we do
Cool.
Russians and we got those Serbian and we got the German veterans, that might be a package in there somewhere. It might be happening early first, second
That
quarter next year, especially with the release of
that
the new
would be
German book.
fantastic. Because
Well,
one of the things I've noticed in the hobby, and of course I'm like you, I've been in this hobby for a day or two. Um, every other system I've ever seen starts either starts or has a good component. Of course, I come from the board game side of the house, so Squad Leader, Panzer Blitz, Panzer Leader,
oh yeah, yep,
they all start on the Eastern Front, and
oh yeah.
so I've always so I definitely know there's a spot there. Well, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be pretty
Yeah.
exciting.
Well,
What
and
else
that
you got
German
for us?
sprue, well, that German sprue's got so many things you can do with it. Pioneers, and you get every one of our
Yes.
boxes now. There's 6 guys on the sprue, so you're going to get 5 sprues in every box,
Yep.
and so that
Yeah.
means you're going to get 5 ATRs. You're going to get 5 light machine guns with terrain, and 5 flamethrowers. So there's that sprue. There's so many kits, and then that nice little picture you got behind you. We got that was the introductory set. Now it's called the starter set. We had some of the kids and might see there's 2 versions of that. You got the new version. We had initially we had it came out. It was called the introductory set. Had a red banner across the top. The side said collect, build, paint, and play. Well, we then received a cease and desist order from a fellow game company that shall not be named, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. So we had to change it. And now we took the red banner across the top. So you got the good one. It's called a starter set. And if you look close inside, it says recruit, assemble, paint, and battle. Otherwise, it's the same exact thing. It's $68. You get 2 sprues of Germans, 2 sprues of Americans, Rangers. You get that cool little box that becomes a bunker. You can QR code and get another scenario. You get a play mat. You get the Hamlet. You get a 68-page rule book that is a step-by-step how to play, and then also how to build those guys. And they color code the sprue so you know exactly which guy to pick out. Now, some of the guys have complained that says, hey, well, I don't want another farm set. I've got so many of them. Well, this box isn't for you. This box is for people who have never played bolt action whatsoever. And $68, I mean, like that's pretty cheap to get into any kind of game systems out there now.
That is, you and I were talking. One of the product lines that I've recently brought in that's done well for me is Clash of Rifles by War Games Atlantic.
Yep.
And it's a very similar layout. It's a couple forces. It's actually less troops. It's 12 troops on each side. No mat, but a small complete rule book, command card, some other things. Anyway, all that to be said that it's coming in at about $80.
Yeah.
So we are one of the things I like about this, and if you look at my marketing, one of the things I was telling folks is this is something you want to buy to give to somebody in your life that you would like to get into bolt action.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things I noticed in looking at this, and I don't know why Warlord always does this, but you've got elite U.S. troops against regular German troops, and that's to me that's always a head scratcher.
Mm-hmm.
I like to, and of course I don't know what all's in the book, but it would be nothing to dial them both back to regular troops.
Oh, sure.
It's my favorite way to teach it. But all that being said, you're coming out of the box with 2 forces that either are equivalent or you can make them equivalent. And the house is always useful. I think I saw somebody commenting, well, there's no instructions. No, it's going to go together however you choose, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I ended up splitting mine into 2 elements.
Yeah. There's always, and I think somewhere on our website there is a build page for that. And of course, the other complaint was, the cardboard Hanomag. But if we would have put a plastic one in there, it would have probably been closer to $100. So, and it depends on the TO, the tournament organizer, if he'll let you have a cardboard one or not in their game system for the tournament. But hey, whatever.
Hey, if I've got a new player and he says the base of my force, my German force is the Germans out of the starter set, and
You
one of my
betcha.
half tracks is the cardboard half track,
Yep.
I'm going to give him a smile and say, "Come on."
Come on in. That's right. Yep. So we're really excited about that. You know, it's starting to hit the shelves, and it's good to see that you got
Yes.
that up. We've got the Once and Future King came out this month, so this is a really good
Yeah.
Hail Caesar. The other Hail Caesar one's coming out. It's War of the Roses. That's on pre-order, but it'll come out the end of this month, first part of next month. But this Once and Future King is it is based in factual information. It is, but it is also Arthur. So
Right.
there's a lot of new models. I thought it was pretty cool that it has all the enemies that were in Europe at the time, the Saxons and the Picts, a bunch of different named people for the war leaders, the Scots, the Irish, the usurpers, the Welsh, the Romans. Then there's 12 battles of Arthur that if you want to follow the history, and then there's also a couple battles of the Pendragon. So you go back here in the back, and they've got all these nice little scenarios all laid out for these different ones, and then they've got the House of Constance. So you can do factual or whatever. And again, you'll see at the bottom it says Dark Sagas Volume 2. Volume 1 was Shield Wall. So this kind of carries along with that. You're not gonna. It's kind of an intro to Hail Caesar. You're not going to have these large formations like 1,000 Gauls or 500 Romans, but you're going to have a good fair amount because this is a little kind of skirmishy. So we've got that.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, I was just going to say that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's skirmish, and then we'll have then I'm really excited to see War of the Roses. And then there's talk that Jon has finished his Boer War supplement for Black Powder, and that's going to be a unique book, Mike. When it comes out, they have told me or talked about the possibility that the Boer War book, when it comes out, will not only be for Black Powder, but also skirmish for bolt action. So you can use bolt action rules or Black Powder rules for the Boer War.
Okay, now that is,
that's a little mind blown.
You're right in my wheelhouse now. That's awesome, and I like, and I think it's a wise call and a great call that Warlord is taking a step back, especially with the Epic line coming out.
Mm-hmm. Well, the new one or the one just came out?
The one that just came out. So you got your Epic.
Yeah, because I can't talk about the new one for next year. Yeah, no, I can't talk about the next one.
Epic Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see a lot of people that want to play classic Roman Hail Caesar. They're going to shift more toward that Epic. So I'm really glad. And I know it's one of those things I do a lot with my club. I'm really glad to see a more skirmishy type approach with Hail Caesar. And I got to tell you, Black Powder and Hail Caesar will dial down to a skirmish level quite nicely.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I've done it. I'll do it again. You run, like when I run some of my French and Indian scenarios, like the ones in the book, I'll run like 3 guys to a unit. Mm-hmm. And so that's, that represents about 30 guys. Yep. And it works. It flows very well. Skirmish actually makes more sense for the ranges too.
Yep.
So usually when I run a 28 millimeter skirmish game for Black Powder, I leave all the ranges as they are, and you get a very fluid, dynamic game that takes the Black Powder system and kind of pushes it a different direction.
Well, and I think we've talked about it before, and if not, there's a great chance to raise it up. We had a set of skirmish rules that we were testing, and we kind of released or talked about for Black Powder. It was called Powder Keg, and I don't know if you've ever talked about that, but if you're ever curious, I can sure send you a PDF file. I got one sitting around here somewhere, but I could always send you a copy of Powder Keg. And Powder Keg is skirmish rules for Black Powder.
I would absolutely love to take a look at that.
Cool. Well, we've got that coming out. We've got. I also really excited about. Lately, I've been on this kick called the Rule of Cool, and it's about the stuff that looks neat on the tabletop. And I've got some new terrain ruins that we'll show you in just a second. That's awesome. But
nice.
That Hail Caesar epic stuff is coming out with some Rule of Cool stuff. The spy interrogation, the Haruspex divination, the siege, the tents and the guy's tent, the stuff that sits off to the side has nothing to do. Well, you can always make up rules for it, like
Exactly.
the epic battle, American Civil War one has the signal tower, the ambulance, the limber, and the wagon. And I painted those up, and they're fun to paint. You can just make up some home rules or something. But that rule of cool, you put it down on the table because Mike, like you said, we've been around a lot. But when you see that nice table of terrain, some nicely painted miniatures, there's just nothing better. Get some friends, some beverages, hot or cold, and have some fun. And the stuff that's out there now, compared to what we had when we started with boxes and shoe boxes and pieces of plastic and egg cartons, now we've got these beautiful companies like our good friends over in Poland, Micro Art Studios, and they've just now released 3 new ruin sets. And they are winter ruins. And I mean, holy mackerel. I've seen these up close. We had them at open day, and they're absolutely beautiful. And you see here, they're also keyed for Achtung Panzer because they have the cleared and ambush counters in the box.
So, I actually have those I've got those in my store. I got them as soon as they dropped.
You betcha.
Because the micro art stuff is so appreciated by the community.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It is the best stuff out there. I mean, for what it is. I mean, if you like painting and doing your own stuff, there's Sarissa, there's Things in the Basement. It's a great company. The best one for pre-painted that now that foreground's gone is of course Blacksite. Blacksite, the guys out of Texas are phenomenal, Connor and Benjamin. But this stuff from Poland, oh man, this stuff is great, quick and simple.
Yes.
And they've got all the, they had some complaints at first, it was too shiny or had to remove the tape. They've dulled them, they've matted them, and they've removed the tape. So they're, 20, 30 minutes and you're done,
Yes.
If you don't glue your fingers together.
Table ready.
Table ready. It's right. So that's just great stuff. And that's just, I like having that out there. And we're starting to have Skytrex, our sister company there in England, is starting to come out with some MDF stuff. We just started releasing some Eastern Front, funny enough, what a topic, buildings and stuff. I mean, if you go to our website, you'll see them. And there's more stuff coming, and they're starting to do some preliminary stuff for K-47. So you're going to start seeing some stuff. We'll be talking about that big at Adepticon and more stuff next year of release dates and stuff. But you're going to start seeing more terrain like that. But gone are the days of cardboard and bottle caps and stuff like that. It's just all this beautiful stuff. So got that coming out, and then we've got the Soldier of Fortune. New ones are there. This one is Germanicus this month, and then we had real successful sale of the Paul Sawyer model. Today's his birthday, by the way. Happy birthday, Paul!
Fantastic. I've got one of those. One of my friends got them for me.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I think we raised over 3,000 pounds for the Cancer Society, and then just it was great. It was great to see the response from the community. So we've got that going on, and then we've got the new. I should have brought one out. We have the paint tammer brushes now out of Japan. I don't know if you've seen those. They're a synthetic. I've just now last 2 days started painting with mine. They're nice. They got the triple triangle grip, so you can grab onto them.
Those are nice. Great.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic, and they're a synthetic sable, so they're nice. It cleans up nice, keeps a point. I've got a detail brush and a coarse brush and a detail brush, and so far they seem to be really great. I'm looking forward to them. I'm painting up some stuff for my Korea tables, and it's.
You've got time to paint.
What? That's what I'm taking this month. That's this month, see? So I finally got some chance to paint this month. So I'm rather excited about that. So, but I'm liking those brushes, and we've got some more of that, more of those coming. We've got a bunch of new figureheads and sterns for Black Seas named ships. Those are starting to come out.
Great.
Yep, got some more of that. And then we've got some Airfix models we're starting to sell with our Hornby partners. So that's for our Big Red Sky stuff. So that's kind of cool. And I'm trying to think of the release schedule. What else we got? More German stuff. And then all the Americans, the winter Americans will come out. We just released the Fallschirmjäger winter. And I know you noticed we're starting to sell like weapons platoons and infantry platoons. So now, and you're going to start seeing more of that kind of stuff. And I really like what we started doing with, we're repackaging is a better word, our resin kits that we used to sell just in the bubble wrap. We're selling them now in a box with a picture, and then they'll have and they'll have the data card in there for bolt action and for Achtung Panzer. And there will be a supplement for Achtung Panzer next year. We've already started having Roger and Mike work on them. And I talked to Roger a couple of times, and you expect to see that sometime next year, second, third, fourth quarter. A lot more. Eventually, all the tanks we make will be available for.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see. That you grab a rule book and then you plug in your tanks. It's one of the things I've always liked about historical gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Your miniatures are never obsolete. You're never going to have somebody sitting in a corner office saying, "Okay, the Sherman M4 is now obsolete and you can't use it anymore."
Yeah. Good luck with that. Good luck with that, right?
As a matter of fact, the Warlord books, and I have no doubt that they're going to continue to do this. They have stats for units that Warlord doesn't necessarily make, because they want players to be able to grab and put into play.
That's right.
From other manufacturers or from printers or whatever, the units that they want to see in their army. And I just think that's a good community. That's being a good community steward on the part of Warlord. It really
is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's you can't IP World War II, but you got to have stats out there for them. You want to be able to have some things out there. So there you go.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna try to go to here and try to see if I can find my list of releases.
Okay.
And let's see. Not that.
The other thing I'm seeing too, I was just sharing with my folks. So last weekend I played, and it's on my blog. I played a game of Advanced Squad Leader, and then as I was kind of writing that up for my blog, I thought, well, how would you do something like this for bolt action? And so I just it was Greeks versus Italians, and of course we make an Italian kit. We don't make a Greek kit, but I started looking at some pictures of the Greeks, and I was like, you could grab some Russian or British kit and kit bash Greeks. And I keep telling people, and if people haven't taken advantage of it, all the miners right now are free. Grab them all.
Grab
them all. And even if you got a proxy, but if you want to try something different, so this particular scenario would play very well as a bolt action scenario. You've got the Greeks and Italians that are on the same side of the board. Italians enter first. So what I would say is the Italians either set up about 12, probably have the Italians set up about 12 inches from one end of the board, and then the Greeks enter. And the Italians got to get off the board, and the Greeks have a unit that's outflanking. So it's a classic layout for a game of bolt action.
Oh yeah,
this is perfect. One of the things. Yeah, it's a story-driven scenario, and one of the things I tell folks, of course, we've got our campaign books, of which I've still got a full stock of those, and they're good storytellers. But you can also grab scenarios from other games, and Squad Leader is definitely one. ASL is definitely one that you can dial down to the bolt action level. I've grabbed scenarios from there's various companies out there that actually make scenario books. But yeah, Bullshell Station, one of my favorites. Really easy to play, plays very fast. Yeah. So see, folks, we've been pushing this stuff a long time. So I really love it.
And ASL had a Korea board game came out, for ASL. So so I've been grabbing those scenarios. So when we rewrite Korea in 2026, we're going to rewrite it. Myself, Alessio, and Beth, and Steve have all talked about it, and we can't start on it really because Alessio really wants to get on it. He was sad that he missed it the first time, but he wants to get on it. But they're right now in the production stages of doing all the Army books, and that won't be finished until 2026. So when that is done, Beth wants to get in on it, and she's the one that's been taking care of all the Armies of books. So we've got that consistency of the same person controlling all the Army books. So that's going to be a nice touch for the Army books.
Editor is always good for a product line.
So Beth is the one that's been doing that, and she wants to get in on it too. So yes, there will be a rewrite of Korea. So we'll get a lot of stuff in that we've found over the last 5 years since it's been out. We've been putting out as supplements or updates every year around June. So all that be in there. So that's exciting. And I've been using those ASL Korea supplements too. So I mean, it's there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. looking at the release and talking about, I think you said you were going to go to a Comic-Con you like to go to in your area. Judge Dredd's always a hit, and the SJS will be out
Right.
very soon, I think this month, along with some stuff for ABC Warriors. We still got more stuff to do for that. I don't know what the next one's going to be. There's rumors of Rogue Trooper, but who knows? And then we got our own Warlord rubber mats now, the vinyl mats. We're starting to sell. We have 4 of them. We have a desert, a grassland, a tundra, and an early spring. That's the big old 4x6 kind of things.
Are those out now?
Check the website. You'll see them on the website. They are out there now.
Right.
Well, 7 December. They're probably under a pre-order still.
I'm wondering if they're available to retailers like myself.
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing them on the trade forum. I'll have to check with Billy.
Check. And then wet pallets, like I said, and all the paint stations, and then all the U.S. airborne stuff. Winter are going to come out. The bazooka teams, heavy weapons platoons, weapons teams, Pathfinder squads, all that, and then casualties, which is kind of cool. So we were starting to do some more of those. Stretcher teams, casual teams, and then of course, end of the month we'll have all of the War of the Roses stuff with the figure Richard III, plus of course, and then the book and the bundle for that. So that's kind of gets us up to the new year. So
excellent. Wow, that's exciting. Just looking forward to all of it. We've got a little bit of interest in the local community here in some nights. I've had a couple people pick up some nights. I may, now that I think about it as a retailer, and this is something, I don't know how many retailers follow this or how many players, but as this stuff's coming out preliminary, this is a good time to talk to either your local store or talk to your local players and say, hey, this is coming down the pipe. Do we want to give this a try? And again, going back to John's point about Hail Caesar as a rule set, traditionally we've looked at that as, rank and flank, Romans, Celts, Gauls. But what they're doing now is showing us how you can pivot that thing and do other periods and have fun. And, one of the big drivers for Gator Games and Books is finding, lower figure counts that people can use to get into games.
Mm-hmm.
And you start talking Arthur, even Shield Wall.
You
don't have to, these are not big armies. And you're not going to have, brigades and brigades of troops to play. In fact, even for epic, sometimes I'll do just individual stands for a skirmish game, and you can, the command roll, it can be a general or it can be an individual stand.
Sure.
And so and they'll tell you, Rick tells you in the intro to both books, hey, it's your game. Tweak it as you like, as long as you're having fun. Like John says, as long as you're having fun, hanging out with friends, drinking beverages of questionable provenance, that's okay.
So it's thanks for buying it. Do whatever the hell you want. Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very, and it's a really refreshing, all the games are that way. Even I think even in the backside of Bolt Action, they're like, hey, if you want to tweak some things for club play, have at it. And I will tell you, I finally finished reading my way through all the Bolt Action basic rules, 160 pages between the fluff and the rules. But there's some sleepers in there. For example, I was reading about the flamethrower, and I don't remember this from the version 2, but you pop a flamethrower on a building, you got a 50% chance of setting that bad boy on fire. Now, I don't know if that's a new rule, but it's sure one I hadn't noticed before.
Yeah. And they get those people out of there no matter what.
In a quick, fast, and in a hurry, So, if you've gotten the version 3 rule book, put it wherever you like to read your books and just sit down and read through it.
Yep, there's a couple
because there's a lot of nuggets in there. There's a lot of good ideas. There's a lot of hints for tactics. And you're going to want to just dig through it.
And read the little box outs. They hide stuff in the box outs too. I did that in Korea. Me and Steve hid stuff out in the box outs. The little box out. Yeah. When you read the rule book, there's like this little box out, in the Siege of whatever, or the attack of this.
Yeah.
Those little box outs have nuggets sometimes. We put flak jackets in the box out and the bugles in the box out in the Korea books. So
Okay.
There's rules in there sometimes.
It's like, like we learned coming through high school and college, not to make anybody twitch, but, read the captions. I had a history instructor that did that, would ask questions on the captions. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But so read the book once and then go back and read it again. It's
Mhm.
on a scale of 1 to 10, bolt action it's about a 6 or a 7.
Yep.
It's not a light game when everything's fleshed out. Now it can be,
Mhm.
your starter set and your basic scenarios, 3 or 4, 5 at the most. 2 squads, machine guns, leaders,
Yep.
real easy. Best way, in my opinion, best way to teach. I'm really looking forward to looking at the starter set
Mhm.
and kind of taking it apart and seeing how well that's laid out. The only other set, and John, I think I told you about this when I saw it. One of the things I liked about Gentleman's War
Yeah.
was that it walked you through
Yep.
learning the game in layers.
That's
And
what
I
that's
again,
what those rulebook does in the starter set.
it's
And
awesome.
yeah, and you mentioned, our starter sets. You mentioned, right now is Battle of the Bulge. That's the one that came out with the 3rd edition. Some of you
Yep,
folks that are eagle-eyed and you as traders will notice that the Band of Brothers, Island Assault, and Gentleman's War have been removed, or they're not on the trade form anymore right now
that's right.
because they're getting redone. They're getting the new
Yes,
rule books. They're getting new things, and you might see that later on. There's a possibility. There's been talk. We're going to do that with our starter armies as well. We're going to start pulling our starters armies off, and because Bolt Action 3 is set around 1250 instead of 1000 like Bolt Action 2 was, we're going to
yep,
bump up those starter armies to 1250. So the
okay,
price is going to go up a little bit, but you're getting 250 more points. So
right,
so
right,
you'll tournament ready, boom, for off the shelf, if you want it. So those, they're not gone, they're coming back. And I'm happy
right.
to announce that we just saw and checked. My good friend Doug and I just checked with Glover from over there at Lead Pursuit. Airstrike is back on the menu, so you can now get the Airstrike
Oh,
book.
good.
Yes, that is the rule book for Blood Red Skies. It's got a bunch of
Yes,
stuff in there for ground attacks, and it's got Big Alley. So that is now available again to retailers and to the rank and file. So
I
yay!
I picked up a copy of Mig Alley for myself on one of my last orders because I got to looking at it, and I'm like, that's the whole game. Those 2 planes, and you're ready to those 4 planes, and you're ready to go.
Yep. Well,
My
and
only critique is I wish we had more planes for the North Koreans.
yeah,
They just
well,
have just the
yeah,
MiG-15s, I think.
well, and if you look into the airstrike, I think they have some yaks and some Ilyushin 10s instead of the ones they had the ground attack aircraft in World War II.
Right.
They have the
That was
same version, but they call it a 10. Um,
okay.
but
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so she has some piston-driven aircraft in there as well, but mostly jets. They had a little bit of yaks at the beginning, but then they all went to the
Okay.
MiG-15s. But
Yeah.
the guys over at Lead Pursuit have started putting out some, and that's where Wing Commander comes in. There's beyond Big Alley where they start fiddling with first generation infrared missiles, and yeah, so it gets to be they're starting to really push the
Oh,
envelope.
that's
Yeah.
I know from playing Check Your Six, man, those first generation missiles were crap.
Oh yeah. But and I love Check Your Six because it's so gritty and down to the nuggets. But you're not gonna
Right.
be able to play 20 guys in 2 hours. It just
Oh,
ain't gonna
no,
happen.
no.
Uh,
And you wanna talk a palate cleanser. Blood Red Skies is one of those light games that I love to drag out, and to your point, just the Midway starter set, honestly, you can play 6 players. You give
easy,
everybody a couple of
easy.
planes, which if you're playing multiplayers is really what you want,
Yep,
and everybody's having a blast,
yep.
and
It,
everybody's engaged,
it doesn't take
and
much.
you
1 or 2 turns
you
and they've got it.
right, and you just can't beat that for, a starter game that you can entertain, 2 to 6 people literally right out of the box.
Literally. Yep.
So yeah, I know I've been telling my guys, me and my buddy, Brent's doing Italians and I'm doing British Desert, and we've
Oh,
been chomping at the
beautiful.
bit to get yeah, I got some Warhawks and I'm painting them up as Kitty Hawks.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
pretty
and there's
excited about that.
check the website. There's a PDF for that for the desert
Yep.
campaign, and that's just Sandstorm, fantastic scenario. And then of course, if you get the supplement, commander, wing
I've got
commander,
that. Yeah.
it's got that whole, Brett and Steve put that whole campaign system in there for for taking your troops from before the battle and after the battle. the follow-on kind
Right,
of
right.
mini RPG thing.
Yeah. I'll have to check that out and maybe do a write-up on it because that's one of the things, we talk about different ways to play the game. Right now, Bolt Action, of course, is getting the tournament play is getting a lot of looks.
Yes.
Obviously, talking Blood Red Skies, it would obviously lend itself easily to a tournament. But the other way we often like to play it is campaign level.
Oh God, yeah.
And certainly a game like Blood Red Skies or smaller point levels, even bigger point levels of Bolt Action, you can play campaign level.
Oh yeah.
You can either, you can string together. I was looking at the various scenarios. It would be nothing to do a scenario tree for Blood Red Skies, where depending on who won what scenario would say where you went on the next one.
Oh yeah.
If you had
Exactly.
a draw, you might end up with that scrambled scenario where the reinforcements are coming in from everywhere, fog of
That's
war.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, those guys at Lead Pursuit did a huge, big Malta campaign that was just, I mean, even down to the, talking about mats and terrain tables again. They actually
yeah,
they found somebody to print a map up for them that is Malta, and it is they took German photo reconnaissance pictures from that time, and then took pictures from the Google Earth. And this company, I can't remember who it was again. It might have been, I can't remember. And morphed it on. So it is an exact map of the 1943 or the Malta 42, 43. I can't remember the year now. And it's the actual Malta map. And you can see, and it is just amazing how they got it done.
that's wicked cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was just nuts. And
Awesome.
it's cool to see that out there. But again, that just shows you what you can do with, a little bit of initiative and a little bit of fun and just finding something and just knocking it out. And those two
Yeah,
books, Wing Commander and Airstrike will help you do that, along
that's
with Bolt Action.
fantastic. Yeah,
Oh, and
and
then
and
keep going.
I was going to say one of the things I often hear, I see on the forums, I hear people talk about, gee, how do I find people to play? Well, one way to find somebody to play is to grab a buddy, maybe at a distance, until you go to the shop. But when you go, you go and show. You
Mm-hmm.
take your own terrain, you take your own rules. You take all the stuff necessary to show that game the way it's meant to be shown.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you'll get looks and you'll get interest.
Yeah.
We
Both
did that.
sides.
We did that
Yep.
with, yeah, absolutely. We did that with Stargrave.
Yep.
Buddy showed up, and I had some of my Warlord Gates of Antares Kit Bash guys as my team, and then
Nice.
he had I think he was running some 40K guys and some kill team terrain,
Mm-hmm.
and we got some really good looks, and people were like, playing kill team. We're like, no, this is Stargrave,
Yep.
and it's on the Warlord site, it's on my site, and they were
Mm-hmm.
like, this looks like fun, and I got to tell you, Stargrave is one of those games that every time I play it, I have a good time,
Oh
and I
yeah.
can't wait to play again.
Yep.
It's you want to talk about a role playing game without the GM, that is just amazing. So,
Stargrave's a great
and
game.
again, yeah, so whatever you're running, Bolt Action, Blood Red Skies, like we're talking about, if you're running Hail Caesar, put the effort in to put that terrain together. I'm a big promoter of terrain, not just because I sell it, but because I often will see players, they'll have 3 or 4 armies of a given game and no terrain.
Yeah.
Instead of
Horrible.
buying that other
Horrible.
army, buy some terrain
Yep.
so that you can. Matter of fact, I've got a video posted and I just reposted it about how the terrain is it tells part of your tabletop.
Exactly.
And, it's one thing if you're just playing kind of a snap one-off game to grab whatever happens to be in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if you want to show, you can show.
Yeah.
And we've got the stuff to help you do it, whether it's the Sarissa that you paint yourself, whether it's the plastic that Warlord makes, whether it's the micro arts or a combination
Yeah.
that you can roll up at any location, you can throw a table up, and people are going to go by and say, wow, what is this? And how can I get involved?
Yeah, and we've started because we do so much of it, Mike. We've got about 16 solid, 17 solid, 20 is the number of tables, and you've seen us do this, I think.
Yep.
We have
Yeah.
20 tables, and each bin, 27-gallon black and yellow bin, is one full table, and you just pop it up, put it down, and there's a picture inside of the lid, and then the little
Oh, that's
folder
a
inside.
great idea.
Oh yeah. Next time we talk, I'll bring on my terrain table book, and I'll show you how we did it. Some people say it's anal retentive. I say it's standardized, but everything is numbered. Everything's on the bottom. So if I find a loose piece of terrain, I know which box it goes back into. It's easy to set up. It's easy to tear down. It's easy to go. We can roll in with 20 of those, and that's 20 tables. You know
what?
people.
I would really like. I don't know when we'll get to do our next one, but let's put that on the agenda.
Yep. Talk about terrain.
For terrain. Yeah, talking about how you guys organize terrain. Because for those of us that are running clubs, so for those of you that are not local to Savannah, Gator Games is not. It's not just my store; it's my life. And so we not only sell stuff, but we are always actively building club. And one of the things we've been really blessed. I've got one of my local guys here that has donated a fair amount of terrain to the club. And John, to your point, it might behoove us to back up 2 spaces and say, okay, let's break these up into different tables and label them out. That's a great
It's easy.
idea.
It's just easy, and you can theme them. You can theme them out.
Yep.
We've got a couple of tables. Midnight at the Oasis. Not the song, but hey, Midnight at the Oasis. It's a whole Oasis. We've got one table. It's kind of fun. It's table 11. It's the WEC table, and we call it the WEC table because it's got a lot of desert terrain features. It looks like a favorite cartoon character that chases a certain feathery animal around, and it looks just like that cartoon, but it's got all those flat rock things,
Oh,
so we call
so
we call it the WEC table. So
WEC. Okay, got it. That's perfect. Yeah, I know my
Super
desert board
genius.
has a fair number of cliffs and escarpments too that provide pretty cool challenges for the players.
Yep.
So wow, that's fantastic.
And you reminded me, I would be a remiss if I did not talk about our latest successful Kickstarter, Vanguard. And that board game went through the roof. It smashed everything we expected. We're really excited about it. We're hoping August, September, get you in your hands. Retailers will carry it, so check Mike's place, and he'll probably have some on his shelf. But it's going to be phenomenal. And it's a multi-use campaign kind of thing. You got to build up your resources to get your guys and your troops there and take care of them. So check out Vanguard. If you didn't get in on it, Mike will be able to take care of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's I was really, I like that we did the Kickstarter because in my mind, pre-order Kickstarter really does gauge if there's interest.
Oh boy, was there interest. We only wanted
that was really amazing. I'm really glad to see that. I know I was a big supporter of the what's the other game we have currently? I'm drawing a blank. The current strategic level.
Combined Arms.
Combined Arms, yeah. And I've sold a number of copies of that. But it's been okay. Me and my wife started to play it one time and just never got back to it. But it's also quite interesting. But I'm really, I was really, really kind of like wasn't quite sure how we would do launching the board game, but it blew the doors off. And so that tells me there's demand. It also tells me I think when people see it, and again, it's one of those that it can be a board game or it can be a strategic game for you. And either way, it's going to be really, really interesting. So absolutely excited to see that come on the table.
And if anybody's interested or curious about it, Angry Joe and Jay did a walkthrough. We were fortunate to get a beta version at MillenniumCon right before it came out. We were able to show people what it looked like, and then they did a run through and check that out. But yeah, that was a really excited about that one. And if you want more, we still sell a lot of Antari stuff you can get, and we still sell a lot of Cruel Seas stuff. So you want to talk about doing campaigns, Cruel Seas, Blood Red Skies, Victory at Sea, Bolt Action, you can really have some fun doing a Combined Arms thing.
And then Cruel Seas is another one of those that, everybody looks at the naval games, and a lot of times people will focus on the big battleships, but those little gunboats was where it was at. I actually have the patrol boat book from Valentine Books, and it's got some very interesting stories in there.
A lot of stuff.
Translate real well to scenarios. And like you say, I know Antares is still in stock. I think Skytrax is looking at doing a relaunch on that.
Yep, their sisters. They did a bunch of stuff for it, and they just released some more stuff for it. So
yeah, it's a fantastic game. So be looking for more stuff out of that too, I'm sure. All right. I think, as always, John, we have brought everybody up to speed.
As best as possible that we can talk about. That's right. Yeah. And
we can
hopefully
talk
Next time we talk, we'll talk about that new Epic game. But until then, I can't say.
Yeah, new Epic game. Yeah, I've got the I ended up not getting the starter set. There was just too many minis in it. What I did get is I got the store demo kit. And then
Yeah.
when they had a spruce sale, because remember I've groused about some of the demo kits being all unicolor.
Yeah.
So they had a spruce sale and I picked up a bunch of the alternate colors for Pike and Shot.
Yes.
Now I have a Pike and Shot game.
There you go. Perfect.
So
Awesome.
and I'm gonna just to get them on the table. I'm just gonna throw them on the basis, and I like to do that to show people that, again, talking about younger gamers, all the Epic games have an option to play bare plastic and be pre-colored.
Sure. Yeah.
And right, let's play.
Yeah, and even in the Hail Caesar starter Hannibal, there's a second game, Scipio, that allows you to learn how to move, maneuver, and all that kind of stuff. And you only need half the sprues, and you can go straight out of the box. So yeah,
right,
brilliant.
Yeah, so there, again, this is a great hobby. I think Warlord's making some great moves toward making even more new player friendly, and that's where we want to be.
Yep.
Historical games and gamers, we have a bit of a reputation of being maybe a little stodgy and a little, you've got to learn all this stuff if you want to play. And I've always admired. I mean, before I was a retailer for Bolt Action, I was a fanboy, for Warlord, and I've always admired that Warlord puts out stuff that are appealing to the non-historical guys, and they actually take a look at it and like, hey, this looks pretty darn interesting.
Well, thank you.
There you go. All right.
Well,
all right, John.
Mike,
go ahead.
You have a good holiday. Take care. Hopefully you get some gaming time and some painting time. It's important, 30 minutes a day, and you'll be fine.
Where am I going to find 30 minutes? But yeah, absolutely. And you too, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's to you and yours, and to our viewers. As always, leave comments below.
Like,
ask
subscribe.
questions below. Like and subscribe. Yep. And share. Those are all the things that help grow the channel. And then if you want to support us, buy some merch or support our YouTube or Ko-Fi channels, help us keep the lights on. John and I both do this full time. So any support we can get for Warlord or for Gator Games is always a good thing. And again, happy gaming, roll some dice, and add new friends to the hobby.
There you go. Take care.